Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, if you're feeling extra cheeky of course, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from your royal garbageness from Entitled People subreddit and says, brother wants me to take a loan out for my mum's funeral. All involved are over 30 years of age. Background, I come from an Asian family where the daughters are considered outsiders, as in not part of the family anymore once married, so daughters are guests now, and the sons are valued more. Once parents passes away, it's the son's duties to do the funeral. Funerals can last up to 3 days. It is very tedious, long, and exhausting. Ever since I finished high school, my many siblings basically dumped my parents onto me to be the sole caretaker. My dad passed shortly after I finished high school, so I've been caring for my mum. My siblings never bothered to come help me care for my mum, and even when my mum asked them for help, they always referred it back to me. So I've gotten used to doing everything myself. They barely even come to visit my mum. My life has been put on hold to care for my mum for over a decade. I have a lot of resentment for my siblings. Over the years, her health slowly declined. She got a stroke 2 years ago. Before she came home from rehab, I told them I would need help caring for her. I said the same thing before I went back to work because we could not live on just a few hours of PCA income, personal care aid, as it doesn't pay much either. I requested more PCA hours, but was only given a few extra hours temporarily. None of them came to help. Even my brother, who lived with us at the time, didn't help. She was put in a nursing home. The present. My mum passed a few weeks ago. Today my brother texted. He wants me to go take out a 10k loan because a life insurance check might not come in time before the funeral to pay for the funeral. My mum had paid for the life insurance herself because she doesn't want us going broke from paying for her funeral. She had said to me that she only wants a 1-day funeral, yet my brother wants a 2-day to look good in front of relatives. In this community, people like to criticize and gossip. And of course, most of my siblings are very bad with money, so none of them, especially the sons, have money saved. They don't qualify for a loan either. Now, with how I've barely gotten any help, I think I've done my part while my mum was alive, so it's my siblings' turn. This funeral isn't even for my mum, but to look good in front of my relatives, so I've put my foot down and said I will not be helping with anything money-wise. I told my brother I wasn't taking any loans out. It was their turn to figure things out. He got mad and tried to guilt trip me and saying he's the only one who cares for her funeral. I said I spent this long taking care of her while none of them did anything. He said my mum was able-bodied, so she was able to take care of herself. Excuse me? You think the only part of taking care of someone means bathing them, cooking for them, wiping their butts and feeding them? No. Even if able-bodied, there's other aspects of caring for them such as many doctor's appointments, waking up to take them to the hospital at 1 a.m, sleeping in an uncomfortable hospital recliner chair, calling into work because they're in the hospital so often and you don't know when the last time with them will be, being their chauffeur for their errands amongst many other things. Of course, he didn't bother to read it and reply. Now I hope he knows how I felt when it was all just me. Now look, I can't talk on the cultural side of things because I just don't know, but to me, just reading from the outside, OP has already done far more than her fair share here. If they want a 2-day funeral to impress relatives instead of honouring their mother's actual wishes for a simple 1-day service, they can be the ones to fund it. I absolutely 100% would not be taking on a penny of debt for people who disappeared when the hard work actually needed doing and left you to deal with it all. A commenter said to OP, your brother can take out whatever loan he wants. He doesn't want to do it and that's why he's asking you. He feels like you're a doormat. I hope you stop allowing people to use you like this. Sorry about losing your mother. I lost mine a few years ago and it's hard. Another commenter says if you take out any loan, your brother will find a million excuses not to ever pay you back. Don't do it. You have done enough and should not cover this expense. Your brother is a total arsehole. Commenter says if he wants, he can take out the loan. You have done too much already. And one more commenter says, if you're in the US, do not take a loan for funeral costs. Funeral homes in the US will allow the surviving beneficiary to sign the insurance policy over to the funeral home and they will collect on the policy once it's paid out. You will know the amount that the policy is worth and what you have to spend. OP did update the post and says, didn't think I'd need an update, but boy, it just got intense. I forgot to include my gender in the first post, but I'm a female. So for some reason, when my mum did her life insurance, she made both my brother and me beneficiaries for half each. I'm not of course going to keep the money because she didn't want us fighting over money that she paid for it herself to use for a funeral, but well, fighting over money we are. They all knew I was just waiting for the check to come, then give them the money. Spoiler, when it comes to the money, they've always come to me to borrow money because most of them are financially irresponsible. I woke up to a whole paragraph from my brother that he's cutting ties with me and I'm no longer his sister, how I stole a decade of SSI, Social Security income and supplementary income, forgot which one, worth 90k, and I should be ashamed of myself, freeloading off of my mum. He isn't going to show up to the funeral if I showed up. Dude, you can't dictate who shows up and who doesn't. Yes, my mum helped pay rent because she wanted to help her children, but I wasn't the only one who lived with her. I was just the only one who lived with her for the longest, while the others lived for a few years then moved out here and there, and it's her money so she can do whatever she wants with it. Other than helping with rent, I paid for everything else. Spoiler, there was a time for about half a year where he couldn't find a job while living with us, yet still allowed me to steal my mum's money while he freeloaded off of us too. My sister then called me because he decided to screenshot our conversation and send it to the siblings group chat. She said I shouldn't say I did everything because all I did was take my mum to doctor's appointments, and that if I said that then, what if relatives ask where all my mum's money went? I wouldn't be able to give them all that money since I was the one taking care of her. I'm heartbroken and sad my ex-brother would go nuclear just because I wouldn't sign a 10k loan, and it's the end of the world now. But it's all for the better because now I see his true colours and can be guilt-free that I wasn't doing enough for my mum. He crossed a bridge and burned it, so I have one less sibling to deal with. The accusations about OP stealing SSI are absolutely vile. I mean, if they genuinely believed she was exploiting their mum, why didn't they step in during those 10 years? I can tell you exactly why, because they knew OP was doing the hard work that they didn't want to do, and yet have the bloody cheek to come back to her and say, oh, you were freeloading off mum. Absolute cheeky bastards. She sacrificed years of her life to care for mum in this situation, and instead of being appreciative and thankful for what she's done for them all, they're not. They're painting OP as the villain instead. It is absolutely disgusting, and I really hope OP decides to keep that money in the end because they don't deserve a penny of it. A commenter says to OP on the back of this, as the saying goes, you never really know a man until you've shared an inheritance with him. Another one says, please keep the money for yourself. Another one says, but there was help that was given and they did nothing. Therefore, you did do everything. And why are they so sure they know what you did each and every day? Another commenter says, they're already saying you stole money, so you may as well keep your half. Absolutely, but what do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if you was OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from L1993 and says, me, 22 female, with my cousin's fiance, 30 female, who I've known for 5 years, wants me to be one of her bridesmaids. I agreed, but now I'm having second thoughts. And a quick trigger warning before we do get into this story. It contains body shaming, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. Earlier this year, my cousin Jeff asked me if I'd be willing to be one of his fiance's bridesmaids for their wedding this fall. While I've known Julie for about 5 years, we've only met a couple of dozen times or so, usually at family gatherings. We weren't even Facebook friends until I agreed to be one of her bridesmaids. So no, we're not exactly close. I agreed to do it only because Jeff has always been like a big brother to me, and he explained that Julie couldn't find another bridesmaid. She needed 4. She's rather reserved. Some might say bitchy and judgmental, and doesn't have a lot of friends. She doesn't have any sisters either, so even though I knew it would be costly, it's adding up to $2,000 now, I did not regret the decision at all, until today. Here's what happened. This past weekend I finally got fitted for my dress. The maid of honor has been bugging us to get fitted ASAP and to send pictures of us wearing the dress Julie had chosen for us. So even though the dress needs alterations, I won't have the final product for another couple of weeks. I posted a picture of me wearing it in our bridesmaids group on Facebook, just as I'd been asked. This morning, I woke up to find that the maid of honor had sent me a long series of messages via Facebook Messenger. The messages start out really nice, thanking me for getting fitted. I think I'm the only one besides her who has done so, buying my dress and shoes without whining about the price on the group, etc. Then she hit me with this bombshell. We're going to have to do something about your looks, unfortunately. You know that the bridesmaids can't look better than the bride. Lol. A joke, right? Nope. She went on to tell me that she had noticed from my Facebook profile that I exercise quite a bit, and she suggested I stop doing that between now and the wedding. She joked, i.e. lol, at the end of every other sentence, that I was going to make Julie, her, and the other bridesmaids look old and fat if I didn't at least gain a few pounds. Think about it like this. Now you have a reason to eat pizza and ice cream every day, lol. She also said that obviously I shouldn't wear makeup on the wedding day to make it more fair for Julie and the rest to look as young as me. It didn't end there. She wondered if it'd be possible to wrap my breasts down at least a cup size with an ace bandage or something. And as for my hair, well, an early 90s style would be perfect. Something to make me look older. Finally, as though I couldn't be more annoyed and shocked by all of this nonsense, she dropped the lols and got serious. The wedding is about Julie, not you. It's your duty to not show up on her big day. You agreed to this responsibility, and like it or not, you have to live up to it now. I expect you to understand that and not ruin what should be the happiest day of her life by making the wedding all about you. How on earth do I reply to a long-winded series of messages like that? It's never ever been my intention to show up anybody in the wedding party, least of all the bride. I never even wanted to be a bridesmaid. I never comment in a Facebook group. I didn't debate about this or that. I just do what I'm told. I'm doing this for Jeff, not Julie, and until now, I've been willing to do whatever is asked of me. Also, it's not my fault that Julie is, to be blunt, rather chubby. It's not my fault that her maid of honor is pushing 42 and looks it. It's not my fault that the other two bridesmaids are not exactly in great shape either. Is it really my duty to purposely let myself go for the next 3 months? I don't think so. No makeup on the wedding day? Fine, no problem. Bad hairdo? Ugh, so long as it's temporary, I guess so. But wanting me to gain weight? Get out of shape? I mean, first of all, I doubt that even if I did stop running every morning and going to quit the gym right now, I'd look significantly closer to what the maid of honor obviously wants. I get lots of exercise at work. I'm a waitress. I'm very active in general and I have a strong metabolism. What does she want me to do? Start eating McDonald's every day from now until the wedding? I'm honestly at a loss of how to reply to the maid of honor. Should I just ignore it? Should I tell Jeff that I'd rather not be a bridesmaid anymore? Should I contact Julie and tell her what her maid of honor said? I don't know. Oh, and by the way, I've already paid for the dress, the shoes, the plane ticket, and reserved a hotel room and rental car, so I'm going to the wedding no matter what. But I'd be willing to take a wash on the dress and just go as a guest if there was a polite way to get out of it now. Any advice, please? Thanks. TLDR, maid of honor has asked me not to look better than the bride or other bridesmaids. Can I back out of being a bridesmaid now? How do I reply to the maid of honor? Now, we've seen a lot of these stories where there's these weird requests not to overshadow the bride, etc. But I haven't seen one quite like this in a long time. My jaw dropped so far, it hit me in the nuts reading this. The bloody cheeky so-and-so to actually suggest that she gain weight, stop exercising, flatten her chest and avoid makeup, and somehow deliberately make herself look older. Because just existing might upstage the bride. That is absolutely unhinged. Although you said you're definitely attending this wedding, I'd be tempted to just talk to Jeff and say, I'm stepping back from this. Taking the hit on that dress if you like, or selling it however you can. And if you can't get a refund on the plane tickets or whatever, go there and have a little vacation yourself. You don't have to attend the wedding, right? I'd rather not go somewhere and be scowled at for a period of time. But a commenter quotes OP saying, is it really my duty to purposely let myself go for the next 3 months? And then says, no, you've done nothing wrong. And the maid of honor sounds insane. Who says these things to another person? Please don't stop your lifestyle or change yourself so you can look a bit more run down by wedding time. In my opinion, either ignore the message and go straight to Julie, or respond with something short but polite saying that you can't accommodate a request, and then go straight to Julie. Ask Julie if this is something she agrees with, because if so, then you can no longer fulfill your role as a bridesmaid, which is a good point. We don't know if Julie actually knows that the maid of honor is making these requests at this moment in time. But OP replies and says, I considered that, but I have a feeling the maid of honor discussed with Julie first. They're best friends, and the maid of honor has said things in the group before like, Julie wants this, or Julie decided that. Keep in mind that Julie is a member of the Facebook group, but she never posts or comments. But she does look at what people post, including the picture I put up that caused all this. Her name is listed under the Seen By link. What I really don't want to do is create unnecessary drama. They're already bloody doing that. Commenter says, whatever, if Julie wants it, she has to deal with this conversation. That is just so rude. She can't just get out of it by being the bride. Just send her a message that says, "Julie, I just got a message from Maid of Honor that is telling me to put on a few pounds, cut my hair and not wear makeup for your wedding." At first it seemed mostly in jest, but by the end I could tell she was very serious. I understand you may want the bridal party to look a certain way, but I'm not comfortable changing that much about myself for one day. Please let me know if these are really your wishes, because if that is the case, I unfortunately can no longer be a bridesmaid. I wish you could have told me before I bought the dress, but please let me know as soon as possible. So it was about a week later that Opie came back in and says, thanks to the advice I received in that post, I decided to contact Julie, my cousin's fiance, directly. I use Facebook because we're not that close, relationship-wise or geographically. Basically, I sent her a message asking her if the Maid of Honor was being serious in her messages to me, and I included the messages so she could read them. Julie didn't respond right away, but on Monday my cousin, her husband-to-be, called me and said that she showed him my message. He was angry. He said that the Maid of Honor is a huge bitch who's been trying to control every aspect of the wedding, right down to who should or should not be invited, as though that's her choice. My cousin and I had a good talk about it, and I was relieved to hear him say that Julie was just as stunned by the Maid of Honor's messages to me as I was. But paranoid me, I wasn't fully convinced until I spoke to her this morning. She is livid at the Maid of Honor. Apparently she also sent similar messages to one of the other bridesmaids too. Not as bad as the one she sent me, but close. She assured me that she was sick and tired of the Maid of Honor's insecurities and swore that she had nothing to do with the messages I received. Julie went on to thank me for bringing this to her attention and made me promise to look my best on the wedding day, which is a huge relief because, like I said in my post, I've already committed a lot of time and money to this thing and I really don't want to spend the next couple of months dreading the event itself. As for Maid of Honor, Julie said she was going to talk to her soon. She sounded very angry when she said that. Also, I just noticed an hour ago that Maid of Honor is no longer a member of our bridesmaids group on Facebook. I'm wondering now if she did talk to Julie and threw a tantrum and quit or something. If so, I feel really bad, but somebody had to say something to Julie about it, right? I don't know. All I know is I'm still a bridesmaid. The bride in question wants me to look my best, and I'm happy about that. Final comment says, amazing how someone pushing 40 can be so delusionally childish. Opie says, she works in human resources, is twice divorced and has 3 children by 3 different men and only has custody of 2 of them. She's not just childish, she's a control freak. I was just so relieved after this one that the bride wasn't really a part of it at all. We see so many stories that are all about, bridezillas, etc. And I know we always see like the worst of the worst, right? That's what always happens because people aren't sharing the thousands of weddings that go on daily that are just going absolutely fantastic. It's always the worst of the worst. It was almost refreshing to see it was the Maid of Honor instead in this situation. But it also did leave me thinking, how did they get to that point of her becoming Maid of Honor in the first place? Did she flip like we see a lot of the bridezillas in these situations? Did she flip when she became Maid of Honor? Or has this been an ongoing thing for a long time in their friendship beforehand? Did leave me thinking, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Under the Bus Girlfriend, who says, my boyfriend 20 male acts differently around me 19 female in front of our friends to impress them as an ideal boyfriend. Advice needed. Forgive me if this post runs a bit long. I really feel like I have to give context to our relationship before I can explain the problem. There's a TLDR at the bottom, but please bear with me if you have a moment. I'd really appreciate it. Background info. My boyfriend and I have been going out for 9 months. We never went through a dating phase. We were just close friends who liked each other, hooked up and are now dating. So we have a very relaxed best friend feel to our relationship. I'll admit I want to feel more like his girlfriend at times. I've come to terms with us being more friends than a couple. The issue. My boyfriend has a fear of our friends picking a side when we break up, since most of our friends are mutual. As a result, he always acts differently with me when we're with our friends. He will be more affectionate publicly and try to be this ideal boyfriend to impress our friends. A few examples. He will only do things, cook breakfast, dishes if my roommates are around to see him help out. He will offer to pay for me when we dine out with friends. I always decline because privately he has never offered to pay, only in front of friends. Also because I know he doesn't actually want to pay. I asked our cab driver to pick up our friends along the way because it was raining. My boyfriend did not want to pay for them, so I said I would. When the cab dropped us off first, he quickly paid for us. After we got inside, he asked for me to pay him back. Since the beginning, I've always maintained the stance of splitting the bills 50-50 because we're both broke college students, so I have no expectation for him to pay for me ever. But it irks me when he only wants to pay for me if there is an audience. I'm a very private person when it comes to relationships, so the PDA makes me really uncomfortable. My friends have implied to me that I should be a better girlfriend to him because I don't seem to care for him as much publicly. Privately, I do a lot more for him. It makes me really sad because previously I've wanted to feel like his girlfriend, but he only makes me feel special to impress our friends. To me, I just feel like this all boils down to when we broke up, he will look like the better person because of the show he puts on. I feel like he's slowly pushing me under a bus. I'm really happy with him when we're alone, but when we're in a group, I can't help but feel fake. When I look back and think about it, I get really sad. I really don't know how to address this problem with him. Please give me some advice. A commenter says to OP, "You're saying when we break up. It sounds to me that you might have already decided that it's not worth continuing with the relationship." OP says we're both really young, so it's likely that sometime down the road we will break up. So we're not saying we will break up in the near future, but when we do, he thinks our friends will pick sides. I'm happy with him aside from this problem, so I want to work past it. Commenter says, "Good, you're young. Plenty of time to find someone better that you are happy with, but isn't an arsehole." OP edits the post and says pretty much everyone has advised me to break it off with him. I want to keep in mind that there are good things about him and he does make me happy still. I'd like to talk to him about the problem and attempt to fix it. If anyone can share some advice on how to approach the subject, that'd be great. Thank you for all your feedback. It's one of those stories that makes me feel a bit old, because I read a line in the comments when it said, it's likely that sometime down the road we will break up. I was just kind of like, you're already treating the relationship like it has an expiry date of some sort. What is the point? And I get it. They say themselves, they're young, and a lot of comments were saying it. And statistically, not every relationship is going to last, right? I couldn't myself anyway ever imagine being in a relationship, just thinking ahead, thinking this probably isn't going to last, but we'll carry on anyway. I just don't get it. But still, it's pretty decent that OP actually wanted to communicate instead of immediately binning the relationship. So OP did come back in to update and says, "I wanted to thank everyone for their feedback in the previous thread." Shares the link and says, "Here's my updated story after taking in your advice. I'll be honest and say I didn't want to break up with him despite that was the general consensus. Unfortunately, it worked out that way regardless. I'm extremely sad right now, but I'm heading home this weekend to be with family. Hopefully, it'll take my mind off things." I brought the issues up in the previous thread with him and we finally talked to the bottom of it. I guess in retrospect, this was a long overdue talk. I was convinced myself our relationship was okay, but as you all told me, it wasn't. It came down to our relationship being too serious for him. He just wants to go out there and have his fun. After all, we're in college. I told him I wasn't going to wait around and have him come back when he needs emotional support. I'd say we ended it amiably at the time, last night. But I can slowly feel myself resenting him for dragging me along all these months. I just wanted to thank Reddit for pushing me to have this overdue talk. As sad and resentful as I am right now, I know when I look back in a month or so, it'll be for the best. It's just so bittersweet. Thank you to those who shared their advice. And I think like OP said, it's sad that this has happened and of course it's going to take some time for OP, but it really will be for the best for them, right? And I really hope that they went out there and thrived afterwards. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.